Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Crime on the Record. My name is Jason. She is Candace. And we thought we were just going to have a nice little discussion
Oh
about Karen Reed stuff, but apparently people on Twitter just won't fucking calm down.
my
We
God.
made one little comment was made about a person, and I guess I just don't understand why they're so upset because the terminology we used is in accordance with Massachusetts State Police. Um,
Ding, ding, ding.
And I just figured that if you were upset about it, that you should be upset about everybody using this word.
Hmm.
Um, and I said something earlier in the week on Twitter. Just I said something nice about Bob Motta. I just said we met him at CrimeCon, seemed like a cool dude, and then people lost their damn minds,
I mean,
and
I
they
talked
went
to his
out
wife,
there.
and she was super nice, like
Yeah.
super nice.
So they went out there and they they
Uh,
screenshotted and this is what's funny is they screenshotted something that's on our Twitter page and it was like that didn't take long to uncover. Yeah, you dumb fuck, because it's on our Twitter page. We didn't
it's not
delete it.
hidden, bro.
Right,
Twitter's
it's right
public.
there. I mean, that
Like,
is some that is some
oh,
top notch investigative journalism.
yeah.
I really hope that they're with the times or whatever. I mean, just call Jen McCabe a cunt. I mean, it is what it is. She is what she is, and everybody wants to be like, "Oh, it's victim shaming." Fuck her. She's not a victim. Like you get up on the stand and you lie and you lie and you lie and you act the way that you do, and you just throw, all this shade towards the criminal justice system. All that. It's what you are. And I'm
Hmm.
like, and these people that comment on these things and act like they're gonna piss me off, like you have no idea how much joy and entertainment this is for me that you are so upset with this person. You have no idea who I am. You have no idea who McCabe is. You have no idea who anybody is. And you go out there and you say these things. It is so entertaining for me. You have no idea. And the other thing is like all these keyboard warriors that are out there, like you'll say shit on Twitter, you'll say, behind your keyboard, put her on here. I will say that shit to her face. Anything that I say on social media, I will say to that person. And like, fuck, come on down here and meet me for coffee. I will say it to your face. So it doesn't bother me that you guys are like, oh, you shouldn't say that. Because the way that I see it is if it's good enough for Proctor, it's good enough for me. So we're just gonna
And
leave.
what I find funny too is somebody got an attitude earlier over this mental health thing, and the person who wrote it says they're a mental health advocate. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
No, you're
You're
not.
not.
You're not. This because that's what made me mad when today I saw right before we went on here, of course, just to get me all fired up. I saw where somebody posted that, oh, did you see Nancy Grace? Because there was a psychologist on there, and she said that she's probably got this thing called borderline. Okay, first of all, if you have to call it this thing called borderline, you don't know what borderline is. Secondly, you can't possibly know, nor can a psychologist or anyone, from the little bitty bits we see of her sitting behind a desk in a courtroom, that she meets the diagnosis criteria in the DSM to have borderline personality. And I find that highly offensive, considering as I have several clients that have borderline personality disorder and they function perfectly fine. And I think it's a horrible way to keep this stigma going about that, to say, oh, we think she's a murderer. She must be borderline. I be damned. She must be. And because you call somebody a cunt, I don't get to have moral outrage. What the hell?
I know. I'm sorry. I know. I know.
You always messing me up.
I just ruin it for everybody. And that's the thing. Out there on Twitter, like before you attack, you should just know that if it's something like just horribly, horribly offensive, that's me. I'm saying it. That's me.
Yeah, that's
I
usually
am
true.
saying it.
Yeah.
She is not. I am. If it's kind of like liberal and you're trying to be, oh, let's all just get along. That's her. That's not me. That's her.
Maybe I
So
should just be a guest. Then they can't
maybe
blame
you
me for
should.
stuff.
Maybe you should. Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, I don't know. And I wasn't even going to talk about this that much, but they just right before, like, and this is shit that we said what months ago, and you're just now coming around to this. Like, come on. But part of me
Man.
though is kind of like, you know, well, this is different because we're still nobodies, but now people are starting to really get pissed off at things that we say. So I don't know. Maybe we're going in the right direction.
Yeah, well, thankfully, here somebody just posted a psychologist giving diagnosis on a person who's not their patient is violating the Goldwater rule and can be subject to an ethics complaint. Exactly. You don't know what you're talking about, which I don't want to say too much because I don't know. Maybe the lady did say exactly what I usually say. I have not seen them. They are not my patient. I cannot say they have this. I could see how they might have, some of the characteristics of that, but Twitter takes that as, well, damn, did you hear that lady on Nancy Grace said she's borderline? Can you believe that?
Yeah.
I don't know about people.
And the only other thing that I'll say about Jen, we'll just go with Jen. We'll just call her Jen. The only other thing I'll say about her is you're a fucking liar if you want me to believe that you butt out somebody 7 times. You're a liar if you want me to believe you butt out somebody twice. Fuck, once. I can't remember the last. The only time that a phone is dialed that we didn't have anything to do with it that I can remember is when you called 911 when we were on a roller coaster
Yeah.
and your phone called 911. Other than that, get the fuck out of here. I don't even want to hear your bullshit. Anyway, that's enough about her. Because, I mean, this whole thing, honest to God, what I wanted to talk about has nothing to do with Karen Reed's guilt or innocence.
It really doesn't.
Because newsflash, fuckers, I'm not watching the trial.
I thought you was going to do better about your language here.
Not on this channel. I told you if we wanted to start another one, I'd be right there. Not on this one. And you can't get me all fired up and expect me to just chill. I am going to chill from now on, though, for today. Because I'm not watching the Karen Reed trial. And honestly, like, I don't even like getting on social media right now because everybody is just fighting about whether she's guilty or innocent. First of all, she's still innocent. I mean, if you guys truly know how the criminal justice system works, criminal joke of a system works, she's still innocent. And, your absolute love here, Jen, for Kohberger, he's still innocent. And I mean, and we were driving today because we had to go get a new rug and some other bullshit we got to do. And if you really truly believe in the criminal justice system, you have to believe that OJ is innocent, that he didn't murder Nicole and Ron. We all know that he did, but he was found not guilty. Therefore,
pump the brakes, bro. No,
I'm just right. Saying.
I mean, legally, no, but there is a difference between not guilty and factually innocent. And I don't believe OJ is factually innocent, but I don't believe anything factually at this point about Karen Reed because nothing has been proven.
I have zero opinion about her guilt or innocence. Zero. I'm telling you, zero. The thing that gets on my nerves is how everybody is fighting with each other and forgetting about what they're actually fighting about. I mean, this Karen Reed doesn't know you. I mean, right. I'm sure she appreciates the moral support, but I mean, as for what you believe about her, she doesn't care. For me, the frustrating thing is just the fact that everybody is arguing over her guilt and innocence. We just completely glaze over what is actually happening. What is actually happening? Because take out everything that you know. Take out the players, who's accused, who's this, take all of that out. And if you just looked at this investigation and you were reading what happened and you saw red Solo cups were used to collect evidence.
I can't even. I cannot even.
At that, I'm just done. I'm done right there because you don't know where those Solo cups come from. What were in those Solo cups? Is there DNA that were in there when they were packaged? So I mean,
it's like, you ever been in a lab? Because they are big on being sterile. I mean, they're big on sterility, as far as I know.
You didn't secure the crime scene. You didn't secure the crime scene. You went to look for evidence during routine patrols, and just maybe some shit would show up. Regardless of Karen Reed, that doesn't matter. Like this, that's not how you investigate crime. It's just not how you do it. What, snow blowers? Those are fucking leaf blowers to get rid of the snow to find out. Like, what are we fucking doing? Like, it has nothing to do with Karen Reed. Like, what I'm talking about, nothing to do with it. I don't care if she is guilty. I don't care if she's innocent. Because if you know anything about me, you know that, like, I don't think Kohberger did it, or at least he didn't do it alone. So, like, I have very strong opinions on things. When it comes to her, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care. What I care about is watching all this other stuff. What I care about is people just arguing over things that have nothing to do with anything. You cannot seriously look me in the face and say, red Solo cups, that's a perfect way to collect evidence. You can't. You can't say that with a straight face. You can't say it and actually mean it. You just can't. You just can't do it. And Proctor, like, again, don't care. Karen Reed, not Karen, it doesn't matter. The thing that's a problem with Proctor, and at first did seem like a conspiracy. Now I just think it's a culture issue. But how can you actually stand there, sit there and watch this guy lie to you on the stand, lie to you, and you still want to believe his investigation? And I'm not saying he did. I'm not saying his investigation didn't come up with the right answer. But like, do you honestly think that if I was on trial, babe, I was on trial, and let's say somebody else believed that I did it, whatever. But if somebody's on trial and you hear these texts about them specifically from the lead investigator, there's no way that you can conduct an unbiased investigation. You just can't.
No.
You're already biased. You're already showing, and you're showing what kind of person you are. Because, like, yeah, sure, I can call people stuff all I want, but I'm not investigating them for murder.
Right.
And you just over and over and over. And like, I don't know how many women are on the jury, but I got to think at least one of them didn't really appreciate just his constant, just not even just calling her, the C word that he could, like, he didn't even say it. He wanted to spell it. Nah, man, own it. Like, I own what I say. Own it. You own it. Own it.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that's not unbiased. You can't tell me it doesn't cause tunnel vision. You can't tell me it doesn't confirmation bias. Like, I mean, he's already biased towards the investigation.
Yeah.
And what he said was, my emotions got the best of me. Okay, fair. Maybe once your emotions get the best of you, but over and over and over, text to these people, text to your boss, like, all of a sudden your emotions got the best of you all of those times. Yeah, I mean, because one of the things, like, if you're pissed off at work, what you do is you open up a Word document, you type all that shit out, you read it and go, ooh, can't say that. And then you move on with the professional way that you're supposed to handle things. Your emotions get the best of you once. They don't get the best of you the entire investigation. I mean, and then, like, just the little bit that I'm watching of this, like, he gets caught in lies during his testimony. Oh,
constantly. He started out with, let me make sure I get this right. I don't know the McCabe's. Like, who are these people? I don't know. And I know the Alberts, but I know of them. Like, I don't know them. And it goes from that to, oh, well, I know 3 of the Alberts. Well, there is another Albert that is also a police officer that we went in my patrol car, drunk as a skunk, rode around, and he left his badge and gun with me. I don't know. I mean, but we're not buddies or nothing. And I also asked a member of that family to watch my child. Who are you leaving your kids with? Because unless you're a crappy parent, we never left our kids with anybody we didn't know. I mean, they had to be like, we met with them, background check, like, all the things.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I mean, I just asked the lady to watch my kid. It's whatever.
Yeah. And the whole drinking in the patrol car and losing the badge and gun was just kind of glossed over. And you and I were talking about this last night.
Gosh.
Like, it's one thing to, like, I mean, it's bad enough to drive around your patrol car drunk. I mean, let's just be honest. But you have somebody that loses their gun, which is bad. That's bad. But the badge, that's the worst part.
Yeah.
Like, do you know how much harm you could do if you stole somebody's badge?
Oh my gosh.
And like I was telling you, if I stole somebody's badge and gun and I wanted to set them up for murder, it would be simple at that point. I shoot you with your gun, or shoot somebody with your gun, leave your badge there. I don't care what you say. Somebody stole it. Well, you know what? That didn't work for old Miles Bryant, because he said his gun got stolen and it was found next to a dead 16-year-old, and his ass is in prison forever. So no, you can't just be like, I don't know how it got there. So I mean, I can set you up. So that's a big issue, and to just kind of glaze over it. That's why I
Mhm.
think that's why for me this is less conspiracy and more culture. That's
And
where
before anybody starts in with y'all just hate cops, my dad was a cop. I was married to a cop in my first marriage. Like, I don't hate police officers. I have a lot of respect for police officers, but I also have enough respect for the job to know that you should be doing it in a proper way. You should not be just like, it's whatever. I'm just going to take my cruiser and drink and drive, even though, if I pulled the person in front of me over for drinking and driving, they would get a ticket, be
could you
arrested,
imagine?
whatever.
Could you imagine if somebody did pull you over and they were drunk and they're like, "How much have you drank tonight?" You'd be like, "Motherfucker, how much have you drank tonight?"
Right? Like,
We might both be equally hammered. Like, who knows? Who
I
knows?
can't even imagine now if I were driving through there and this fool pulled me over. I'd be like, bitch, you ain't write me nothing because you don't get to tell me anything. Like, you
Right.
got a lot of nerve thinking you can write me a ticket for something. Were you just drinking and driving in this cruiser a while back? Come
And
on.
again, nothing to do with Karen Reed, not a thing.
No.
And it doesn't. And honestly, when we're talking about this stuff, it doesn't really have anything to do with Proctor. It's any police officer that does this. It
Yeah.
just happens to be he's the one that we have proof that did it. Not our proof, his proof. He's the out of his mouth, his
Right.
words. And this whole trying to like, you know, manipulate the English language shit when they ask him about, well, did you have a personal relationship with him, whoever that was? No, I didn't. I didn't. But you drank together. I mean, yeah, but when we were talking about cases, well, guess what, Mr. Police Officer? When you take a drink of alcohol, you're technically no longer on duty. So any conversation, any kind of interaction that you have with somebody at that point is personal. It's no longer professional, regardless of how personal that may be. You may know them forever, you may know them for 10 minutes. This doesn't matter. It is now a personal relationship. And you on the stand are just trying to wiggle around that. Just answer the question. I
Yeah.
mean, like you fucked up.
Uh,
Like shit happens. You fucked up. You got caught. The end. Like that's what
yeah.
happens. Don't try. You're making it worse. Just own it. Own
I
it.
know, right? He just made it worse and worse and worse because every time Jackson asked him another question, he just got caught in another lie and another lie and another lie. It was so ridiculous.
I mean,
And I just can't. This guy is so ridiculous to me.
nothing to do with Karen Reed. Not a
No,
thing.
but
Not a thing.
also what I don't understand in regards to this case, it's okay. So first of all, it doesn't have anything to do with Karen Reed the way we feel about his situation. He shouldn't have been doing that, but it does have a lot to do with the fact that I don't think he's credible because he sat up there and lied so much. Whether she did it or not, he's not the credible witness you should have put on the stand to tell us that. But also, how is it that they say Canton PD recused themselves from interviewing any witnesses because it was a conflict of interest? But out of all the troopers in that state, you put this fool on as lead on the investigation and he don't bother to tell anybody, you know what? I might have a conflict too because I know him as well.
I
He didn't
mean,
think to tell anybody that. Like, the only reason you're on this is because of a conflict of interest, and you also have a conflict of interest. You didn't think that shit was important to tell somebody? No, nobody sees a problem with that. It's fine.
I just love how, whether I mean, and some of these are not like horrible, terrible lies. I mean, I guarantee you there's a ton of cops that drink when they're supposed, when they're supposed to be on duty, they're not supposed to be drinking, they do. So I
Sadly,
mean,
yeah,
but
probably.
but the issue is it's one after another, after another, after another. And that's what the issue is. And then for him to, with a straight face, tell everybody that he conducted this investigation with the utmost integrity. No, you didn't. Like, no, you didn't. Like
Ah,
you didn't. And I mean, like, but what else is he gonna say?
I
He's not
mean,
gonna be
yeah.
like, no. But all this stuff, like, if this was a defense witness, she would already be in prison. Like, everybody like,
Yeah.
really? You're gonna try and you want us to believe all that, but yet all this other stuff you're doing, but you want us to believe? Come on. So I mean, it's just one after the other after the other. And like I said, it's just all this stuff is symptoms of a bigger problem, which is the culture. Because I mean, you should never talk about suspects like that. And I mean, some would argue and say to me that I shouldn't talk about people like that either. And maybe you're right. It's not going to change, but maybe you are right. But if I'm a police officer, I damn sure shouldn't be talking about people like that, especially suspects.
Well,
Because,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, other than the obvious, but I mean, what could be happening here is Karen Reed could be the one that did it. It could be second degree murder. She may have wanted to kill that guy, but all the stuff that they've been doing with this investigation, it puts a lot of this in jeopardy. If she truly is the person who did it, it's going to be very hard for a jury to come back all guilty based on the investigation, based on the way they've been doing these things. That's why I say I don't care if she's guilty or innocent. It doesn't matter to me. It's the way this investigation is being done. It's the lies that are coming out, and whether they're big or small, they're lies. They're just lies. I mean,
Yeah, and I would be, it kills me that people get such an attitude about this and they're so angry. And it's
right?
like, if you really care about John O'Keefe, would you not be concerned about the fact that if you do feel like she killed him, that she may not serve any time for it because they did such a crappy investigation?
Yeah.
And acted the way they did? Like Jennifer McCabe got up there, first of all, lies, lies, lies too. She evaded question after question after question. But even if not, she was such a horrible sounding person that I would be like, oh, I'd be so turned off by her. I wouldn't even, because like just being a generally decent person, why are you talking to anyone in a courtroom that way? The way she acted was just absurd. Just answer the questions. Why are you so defensive?
Yeah. I would dare say she was being a little. We'll just move on. But I mean,
Oh,
it's just, and what really makes me think culture too is, apparently the whole solo cup thing, the bag from a random gas station or some shit, whatever it was, like it didn't seem like strange to them. It seemed normal.
yeah.
So it's almost like that's part of their procedures, just to kind of, well, we don't have the right shit, so we'll just wing it. We don't need to lock down the crime scene. We don't need to do all that, and then make sure that we get the evidence collecting apparatuses, if you will, to do all this stuff. Now, fuck it, we'll just some red solo cups. We're good, and that kind of leads to culture. They didn't secure the crime scene the way they should have, whatever. But the thing that really screams culture to me is you're texting your boss this stuff, and it's bad enough if you text your buddies, your fellow officers. And I get like in some jobs, like when I was in the military, dark humor is a big
Dark
way.
humor.
It's a big way that you cope with things. But
Mhm.
it's never like you're never talking about somebody behind their back. It's always right to their face, because that's why I do it all the time. Like I will
Yeah.
say that shit to your face. I don't care. But I'm not going to go behind you. But I'm also I also wouldn't go to my commanding officer and say any of the shit that I used to say to the guys that I served with. Never. And if he feels comfortable enough to do that, that's a culture situation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what it is. It has nothing to do with Karen Reed. I guarantee you he's done this before with his boss, because you don't just all
Yeah.
of a sudden do this shit. Like, it's a culture issue. And people are talking about Proctor should be fired and all this. Look, no action. I mean, I don't think any action will be taken on them until after this trial is over. And then based on the verdict, then they will do what they need to do. If it's not guilty, they'll fire people, because then
But you
they'll
know
have the
what?
moral high ground to be like, hey, bad investigations led to this, so we've let these officers go, blah blah blah. If it's guilty, nothing will happen.
Which is
No.
absolutely absurd, because even if we say, let's put his bad judgment of saying these things over text to friends and stuff and his bosses, what about the fact that he was drinking and driving in a patrol car?
I mean, that's enough right
I
there.
mean, you're done. I've never known a police officer that would not have been fired on the spot for that, period.
If I got arrested for drinking and driving today, the bank would fire me. And
Yeah.
me drinking and driving on a Saturday's got dick to do with what I do at the bank. But they would
Right.
fire me instantly. Like, I'd be
Yep.
gone. So, and I saw some people talk about how his personal text shouldn't come in. Agree until you can see, until you see this. Like, once you start to see how he's talking about a suspect and how he's basically saying she's guilty regardless, and we're going to find evidence to make sure that it backs that up, and all these other people now they're good and all that, that's when it is relevant. It's very relevant at that point.
Well, you know what, too? The way I feel about that is, no, I don't think your personal stuff should get brought in. However, these were given to the defense by the feds, and the feds have them because they had to do an investigation on certain people So don't do shit that gets you in trouble with the feds, and they won't have your personal stuff to pass along.
I
Like,
mean,
why are you doing stuff that the feds are interested in you? It's
I
too
mean,
much.
look,
It's just too
I
much.
don't know all the ins and outs of that. All I know is those texts were absolutely relevant to what is going on. Because I mean, if it was him talking about some other chick and he was calling her those things and he was saying all these things about somebody else that wasn't a defendant, then no, there's
Yeah.
nothing to have. Absolutely, it's a horrible thing to say, but I really can't cast judgment because I say that shit too. The difference is I don't hide it. But like, but that wouldn't be relevant. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're talking about the person that after 16 hours you said she's guilty, and you're talking about her like
Yeah.
that. And
Right.
regardless, even if you could say these things about this person and still investigate the way you're supposed to investigate, when it comes to light like it does now, it causes everybody to question everything. And that's
Yeah.
the reason why, as police officers, you are held to a higher standard. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to live in a world where we don't hold police officers to a higher standard. Like you have the
No.
like you have the law enforcement investigative powers to potentially put somebody in prison for the rest of their lives. Yes, you should be held to a higher standard. You just should. Like I never understand when I'm reading some of these things. Like how they're just like, I mean, it's just things. No, no, this is a different kind of person. Like you are held to a higher standard, and you should be.
Yeah.
You should be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, they were relevant in here, but like I said, if he was talking about somebody else, no, they're not. This personal stuff shouldn't come in, but this is absolutely relevant. And remember, guys, I'm not an attorney, so don't come at me like I'm arguing the law and shit. I'm just
Uh,
saying, for me, this is what I think. Like it's absolutely relevant to what's going on. Let's see. I've not watched a lot of trials, but I've seen a few accident reconstructions in my
oh
day.
my gosh.
Um,
Absurd.
even if what they did was procedurally correct, and I don't know that it is, you need to go back to the scene and you need to recreate everything the way that it was that night. So if you can't put ice on the ground and snow coming down as hard as it was, then you did not do an accident reconstruction properly. Because just because you can back up really fast in a straight line in a parking lot with the way that the weather was, doesn't mean you can do it on the night with the way the weather was with that night. Like that's not an accident reconstruction. Like, I mean,
Like, I thought for sure we were about to see something. I was like, well, hell yeah, finally we're going to figure out what happened here. Like, they're going to show us how this car went and how, we were able to see how his body would have landed after they hit him. And it's going to be in the same conditions and everything. It's going to be like a whole mock up of it. And then this bitch is in the parking lot of the police station backing up fast. That's his whole thing. That's
and
it.
again, nothing to do with Karen Reed. Nothing.
No.
Absolutely nothing. But I would expect a better accident reconstruction. Like I just went out there and Googled some shit, and this is some personal injury attorney. And this is what his looks like. We don't need the music, but this is his accident reconstruction.
I love it. Love it. I love
I
the
mean,
car.
and like I'm not, all I'm saying here is this is what, like in this one, okay, you see how the person was hit, how
Mhm.
he may have been thrown this direction, that direction. It's just it's sad,
You know,
really.
I was listening to the logger. I love him. I mean, I love him
I
because
mean,
he is he's unbiased. I mean, he just tells you what he thinks, which I love. And he was saying that sometimes judges won't allow certain things in. So, but here's the thing. I mean, I kind of feel like Bev would have let this in because she kind of seems to be kind of prosecution heavy. So, but also, dude didn't say he did any of that either. It wasn't like, well,
no.
we did it, we couldn't get it in. It was like, I did some backing up in the parking lot, bro. She
I
for sure
mean,
did it. What?
like I told you while we were out today,
Ah,
it only takes two things to be able to back up and get to 30 miles an hour. Like it can be a little, scary, but you just have to have a straight line and don't be a pussy. Just hit the gas. That's all you got to do. It's not hard to get a car up to 30 miles an hour in reverse. It's a little, sketchy, but I mean, it's not the end of the world. But the other thing about this accident reconstruction though is like how far did she back up before she hit him on what they're saying? Well, what's the distances? Did they do any of that? Did they tell us like she had 74.5 feet and we were able to get the car up to whatever in 67? Like, did
Well,
they
we
do
listened to
any?
it today. What did he say? 60 feet? Wasn't that what it was? 60 something feet? Like 60
Yeah, he
feet?
was telling us, but he didn't
Oh, he didn't
just
show
say,
anything.
no, and he didn't correlate it to anything. He just said,
No.
I was able to get up to 24.2 miles an hour in 62 feet, which, okay,
Yeah.
cool. What's that got to do with anything?
I mean, I thought he was trying to say that she pulled up 60 feet, but like, we don't know how far she would have pulled. Like, we don't know any of that. So, like,
But
and
see,
you
this
didn't
is,
show us how she could have done it. So, like,
yeah. And see, and this is what the problem is. Not Karen Reed, not the Karen Reed trial, all trials. This is what the problem is. I don't know when, because I stream trials unless work gets in the way, but I stream a lot of trials. And I go into these cases knowing nothing. And I do that on purpose because I want to see when they're presenting the evidence, like, am I seeing the same thing the jury's seeing? What am I thinking? Are you not dumbing this down enough? And if I'm in the jury and I'm watching you do this reconstruction, you have not told me anything that links this to what you think happened. And I'm not saying like, okay, she backed up this. No, you got to show me. Like her car was here, he was here. This is how many feet
yeah,
it was. We were able to, like, I need that as a juror who knows nothing about this case. I need that because right now what I'm looking at is, cool, you backed the car up. Like that's all I saw. And I mean, like I said, I haven't been following this trial. Don't know anything about her. Don't know anything about this. So all I saw was a guy was able to back up fast. And that doesn't tell me anything I need to know. And
no.
if you want to make sure you're locking up murderers, especially people that are murdering cops, you want to make sure this stuff's a little more professional.
Yeah.
And even if it's procedurally right, you should be able to look at this and be like, fuck, I don't know. Like, I don't think anybody's going to understand what we're trying to say here. And that's a problem because you are potentially, this investigation, because of the way that it's done and the way that the appearance of misconduct, and I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying the appearance of it, you're potentially going to let a killer go free. I mean, just like, let's say Idaho, right? If Koberger is found not guilty, who are you going to go look for? You've torn the house down.
Right.
And I'll say with them, their investigation's been sloppy so far too. You copied and pasted the entire PCA. You can't do that. Like,
I
somebody died,
mean,
and in Idaho, 4 college students were fucking slaughtered. And you think copy and paste is okay? Like, this is just a problem in so many of these little areas. And you get these lights shining down on this stuff, and stuff comes to light, and it's like people are just like, no, this ain't right.
yeah,
This
because
isn't right.
the whole point of a report is to have an accurate portrayal of what just happened, what you just experienced, you just saw, you just heard, all of that. How is that an accurate portrayal if all you're doing is copying and pasting someone else's thoughts and feelings and
Right.
experiences? It's
Yeah.
not. I
Yeah.
mean, you should be able to take two people's reports and look at them. And if they went in that house together, they should tell you roughly the same thing, but you don't know whether they saw or heard or any of the same stuff because it's just copied and pasted. It is.
Yeah.
It's sloppy.
And is that a culture thing there too? I mean, it could be, because if I would think that if I'm going to put something in front of a judge and ask for a warrant, and then I know, I mean, the entire country and a lot of the world is watching this trial or this investigation, meaning Koberger, I'm going to want to send up more than a copy and paste. I'm going to want to send something up that I know if the whole world sees it, I can defend it, and I don't have to, like. And it's just lazy. It's just lazy, is what it is. I'm not saying they got the wrong person. I'm not saying they got the wrong person, Karen Reed. I'm just saying this does not look good. And this is the reason why we need to watch trials. Because if people continue to do this kind of thing, they need to be held accountable. Like, this is not okay. I don't give a shit. Karen Reed, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who it is. This type of investigation, the way that they've been doing things, is not okay. And if we as the American public don't keep them in check, who will? And that's exactly what needs to happen here.
Yeah.
They may not like it, but that's what's got to happen. Like, you can't just allow police departments to do this kind of thing, because this is how people get put in prison wrongfully. It just
Yeah.
is. It just is.
I mean, there's stuff that it's like, well, that's kind of questionable. What's going on with that? So I mean, it's not like it's 100%. We're like, oh, no way she did this. It's like you watch it and you're like, well, why? Because I mean, one thing I will say with this whole what time was the search, how to die in the cold. I
Yeah.
was saying that it will seem really weird to me that if she did make um, that she did search that at 2:27, because my thing is, if you think they put him outside around like 3 o'clock, who's in the middle of trying to dispose of a dead body and they're like, you know what, I think I'm gonna check some hockey stuff. So honestly, I could see it not being a search at 2:27 or it being a problem for the defense, but you're not really proving anything here to tell me.
I mean, and the other thing with the searches is if the tab was open at 2:27, but the search may not have occurred then, it could have happened 4 hours later. How do we believe
Yeah.
anything from cell phone data?
Right.
I mean, but I mean, and
I mean, yeah.
and I'm not, and it's not a dig on the cell phone expert. It's not a dig on the prosecution. It's not
Yeah.
on anything. It's an honest, legit question. If we don't know when you can search things, how can we trust anything? So like Brian Walsh's searches that they're using, that they arrested him, and that's part of their evidence. How do we know that's right? How do we know he searched what he searched when he searched it? If you can't tell me, if I just
Yeah.
open a tab and I put something in, and then wait, and then how can you tell me any of that is accurate?
And you can't tell me they don't know what we search, because I can talk about anything and my phone's popping up ads all of a sudden. How do they know that? How do they know what
Well,
I'm talking about or looking at or anything? Or I'll
hmm,
search for one thing, like I'll be like, oh, we're thinking about going on a cruise. I search one cruise and then for days I get emails and stuff about cruises and pop-ups. I'm like, well, how'd you know I searched that?
well, I mean, it's just like if you search for airfare multiple times, it starts to increase in the price.
Yeah.
So there has to be something that lets them know what time you are searching for these things. And in the way that we are tracked on everything that we do, whether it's, police department getting a search warrant or Amazon trying to make sure that they shove products down your throat. Like, it's hard for me to believe that we don't know exactly when a search occurred. We don't know when somebody hit enter on their keyboard on a Google search on their computer or on their phone. I just, and I'm not saying that I'm not saying she's wrong, because she's way smarter than I am. I'm not even gonna play. I mean,
Yeah.
there's words I'm like, that's not a, is that a word? What is that a
Yeah.
word?
Like, what'd she
That's a
say?
word. She's clearly smarter than me. It's just all this stuff that we, hear about. We can tell this on the phone, and we can tell when you just fucking were, oh, I'm going to turn my light on like this so I can see. You can tell me all that, but you can't tell me when I'm searching on my phone, which just is wild to me.
I
It's just
mean,
wild.
look at who's the dark guy? Morphew.
Oh yeah. Okay. Dark. Sorry, I didn't hear what you.
Oh, yeah, because I
I didn't.
said, he was chasing her all around the house. Well,
Yeah.
how'd you know any of that?
Well, and this may be
It's
something that
crazy.
is a difference between cell phone tracking data versus Google searches, and there may be some differences there. But
Yeah,
like,
that's true. That's true.
but I, but I need you to put that shit together for me. Like, I need you to
Well,
tell me that, hey, I can tell you exactly where you are with your cell phone because of GPS data, but this is why it's different over here for this. It's just I've never heard that before, and it very well, and I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm just saying it's just very strange to me that we can't for sure say this is
well,
when it
I don't
happened.
know. I was listening to the lawyer earlier, and he does cases every day. Well, I don't know if he does cases every day, but he's a practicing lawyer, and he does a lot of stuff with like wrongful whatever
Yeah,
suits and stuff. So I mean, he's dealing with like accidents and things like that. And he even said that he's never. So like he was saying the same thing. He's like, I've never had anybody say that. Like we
I mean,
always have like a
yeah,
time and stuff for searches. So
yeah,
even someone else who does this on a regular basis is like, what? And he
yeah.
even said the same thing we were saying last night when I watched him today. I heard him saying that like it was a concern for all the other cases that they've said, this was searched at this time. It's
Yeah.
like, but were they? Because the way this way this chick's talking, they could have just opened up a tab and that's the time the search is going to show whenever you open that tab.
And I mean, maybe she explained it, and like she explained it the way that she would understand it. I mean, you got to remember, you're not
Maybe.
you're talking to people that have no idea what you're talking about. So we need you to, you know, okay, you're an expert. We got all that. Now I need
We're
you to
not.
dumb it down. I need you to dumb it way down for me and everybody else that's here, because I mean, that's who you're talking to.
Mm,
You're talking to everyday people that really don't know anything about cell
yeah.
phone stuff.
Like,
They don't
tell
know
me like
anything.
I'm a 5-year-old that doesn't
Yeah, yeah,
understand. I
yeah.
mean,
So I mean, like I said, I've just never heard that before, and it's I don't know, it's concerning
mm,
because I don't know if we know exactly when this person searched for everything, but we can't say when this person. So who's right, who's wrong, and where's the, you know, where are we close to each other? It's just there's just too much. There's I don't know.
and it's a
And
very odd thing for the prosecution to want to put an expert on the stand saying that, because they're typically going to be the one who's trying to refute that evidence and say, we know they did it because we saw this search, and this search, and they were at this time, and this time. Well, how is Lally going to go into court and ever do that again when the expert he hired got up there and said, well, the time is when the tab was open and last used. I mean, that it could have been any time.
yeah, I mean, it
Well,
is an issue.
and it
I
could
mean,
be any time.
yeah, I mean, it's an issue for any prosecutor because now it's like, I mean, and like I said, there could be an easy explanation. I just didn't hear it. So if somebody knows, I mean,
Yeah,
I'd love to know
we are
because
open to,
again,
like, that's the thing. We're not trying to be biased. We're just talking about facts. So if you got facts we don't have, share them.
because
I
I
mean,
don't
I'm
care.
open to listening to anything. I put my shirt on backwards when I change shirts again.
There's somebody.
You know what? If somebody that doesn't like us is on here, they're like, this bitch can't even put her shirt on right. How's she giving us her opinion?
And that is the reason why we need experts to dumb it down for us because this bitch can't even put her shirt on the right way.
Y'all, I spill things constantly. So I wore this shirt today and we got home and we ordered pizza. And I was like, okay, let me take this off and just wear my white tank top and put a different shirt over it. So I don't have, because this shirt's white at the bottom. So I'm like, I don't have the white shirt at the bottom. I don't have just a white tank top. I got this other shirt on. So I threw this one over the back of the chair. And you told me it was time to come. And I was trying to put it on while I was getting my stuff ready. And apparently I still have the tag in the front. So.
Uh-huh.
But another thing that is crazy too
Yeah.
is,
Okay.
well, yeah, I mean, it's whatever. People are going to think I'm an idiot or they're not. So it's whatever.
Right.
I'm
Right.
not going to dwell on it. But another thing too is like, if you have all these questions and you want to, or other people have these questions and you want to kind of sum it up for them, why didn't you let her check anything else on the phone? Why didn't you let her check the call log history or anything else? The way they talked, they were so specific about what she could check on that phone. They didn't want her touching anything else.
And see, the only reason, I mean, if that was it, that would be like, you'd be like, I wonder why they didn't check everything in the phone. And
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, maybe it's because of this and this, which, okay, that would be fine. The issue is all of the witnesses before contradicting what the other witnesses are saying, some outright lying, some just lying by omission. And once you get all that stuff added up, and then you get to the cell phone data stuff, and she is very specific on the few things that she checked, that tends to have people go in the why.
Mm-hmm.
So all this other stuff is happening. You only search these few things, and that's not to say
Why?
that's what's happening with her. That's just what it appears to be for some people, and that's the issue. That's why, like, you got to make sure that all this stuff like lines up, makes sense, easily understandable, because you could potentially be letting a murderer run free.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
just it's just the same thing as these people lying. It's like, it's not about arguing over whether or not this happened. This is an argument as to whether or not they've proven it. And when you
mhm.
have people on the stand lying while they're on the stand, that is a problem. And it's not just Proctor. Look at Katie McLaughlin, which I know you haven't watched the trial and all, but
Nope.
she is one of the EMT fire people, whatever. And she's trying to say she don't have a relationship with any of these people. She did the same thing Proctor did. She tried to talk in circles about how, well, they're acquaintances. I mean, I've seen the inside of the house, but I don't know. And then next day, bitch got 100 photos coming out with her and Caitlin Albert. It's like, I don't take that friends with that many pictures with strangers. I got pictures like that with friends.
Yep. And that's why I'm saying when I say they're lying, it's not because I think they are. It's provable stuff. I mean, it's you can see what's going on. Yeah, you're the guest.
So
You're the guest
true.
on this because you don't know how to dress. But
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
but
fair.
when I say they're lying, it's because it's provable. I mean, I'm not just saying it to say it. Like
And look at it's crazy to me too that you have people like Katie McLaughlin's up there lying like a fool, Proctor's up there lying like a fool, and then you get someone like Nick Barrows, who is a police officer, that gets on the stand, has no interaction with these people. He's not friends with them. He's not family with them. Doesn't know them. And what does he say? That taillight wasn't in a bunch of pieces. When I saw it, it was cracked and maybe missing a little piece, but that's it. So the
Mhm.
only person who's not related to them is a police officer telling you the exact opposite of everyone else who's friends or family with them.
And here's where
That's
arguing,
a problem.
yeah, and here's where arguing about her guilt or innocence instead of looking at the process of the criminal justice system is the issue. Because police officer says that, the people who think she's not guilty jump on that and be like, see, that's proof. And then the other people are like, no, he's lying. And we're totally getting away from what we're like. It doesn't matter what you think about her being guilty or innocent. Like, do you believe this officer? And if you
Yeah.
believe this one, then you can't believe the other one. So it has nothing to do with Karen Reed. Nothing. It has nothing to do with either side. It's the fact that you're not even paying attention to what's going on. You got one police officer who clearly is not lying. I mean, if you go up there and you answer all the questions and you don't try and evade these things and you don't try and help one side or the other, that tells me you're not lying. But when you're up there, kind of like the Nikolai Mew case, where that kid was up there and he's like,
Oh,
"Oh, I only had a couple beers. Did you have any liquor?" I mean, they didn't ask me about liquor. Bitch, they
right.
asked you if you were
Come
they asked you
on.
if you were drinking, and you said
Right.
beer. Like, so I know you're lying because you're trying to evade the things to make yourself look better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got nothing to do with her guilt or innocence. It has everything to do with how people respect or disrespect the criminal justice system. It just does.
Yeah.
Do you think there would ever be, other than maybe a cop watching a guy get murdered on our front lawn, other than that, do you think there would ever be a time where a dead guy could be on our front lawn and nobody comes and searches the house?
Never. Never,
Never,
ever,
never,
ever, never.
never. I mean, yeah. So
Especially when he's outside without a jacket on and you're telling me it's a blizzard. If it's a blizzard, I want to know where that man's coat is. And how did he get there? He doesn't have a vehicle here. How did he get here? You don't know why he's at the house. You know nothing about any of this, and you didn't ask to search.
yeah, and see, and this is where, doesn't matter. Karen Reed, doesn't matter. This is where the issue comes in, though, because if you're a juror and you actually pay attention to what you're supposed to be doing, beyond a reasonable doubt, if you told me that there's a dead guy on a front lawn and you didn't search that person's house, that's enough right there for me to say reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even if she did hit him with her car, maybe something happened to him before inside that house. And that's the issue. That's reasonable doubt enough right there for me. So it has nothing to do with Karen Reed. It's all about making sure the investigation is thorough. That way, beyond a reasonable doubt, you know that the person that you're putting on trial is guilty. And you can only say that if you know you've exhausted all other leads and all other maybes. And clearly it was not done. He
It's
said he
so
knew.
ridiculous.
He said he knew who did it in 16 hours.
Yep. Knew that without
Look,
a shadow of a doubt. And he said, okay, this is another thing too. And this fool said, because of the evidence. You mean the evidence you didn't find till 2 weeks later or whenever?
right,
When you
right.
found all these shards that all of a sudden magically appeared? Like, what evidence were you basing this on at that moment then?
Right. So
It just doesn't make sense.
no, I mean, it should have been, the house should have been searched regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Should have been, I mean, because that is opening the door wide open for a reasonable doubt. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it just is. Because
And
you thought,
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just going to also because I mean, we've seen interrogations last longer than 16 hours.
Right.
Not investigations, interrogations. So, I mean, it has, like I said, I'm going to say it a million other times. It has nothing to do with Karen Reed. I don't give a shit if she's guilty. I don't care if she's innocent. I don't care. I do not care. The issue is this investigation was shoddy at best, and you've left the door wide open for a potential police officer's murderer to go free. You just
Yeah.
have. You just have. And the lying and the inappropriate relationships, because you shouldn't be communicating with these people, texting people, oh, they're in the clear, no big deal here, we know who did it, all this other stuff, like that's all day bringing a not guilty verdict for somebody who may very well have murdered someone.
And
it's
the excuses are ridiculous too, because the first one was, well, we didn't have enough to get a search warrant. First of all, I don't believe that. I think most judges would have gave a search warrant for that.
Yup.
However, even if they didn't, why didn't you at least ask for consent to search? You didn't even ask. You didn't ask at all. Can we search the house? Can we see the basement or upstairs? Or they didn't even ask, which shows that it wasn't about we couldn't get a search warrant to go in there and check. It was we didn't even ask. We didn't even think that it would be a problem.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, yeah, and you should absolutely search the house. Just absolutely. And when you don't search like you should, you don't investigate like you should, you nail down a suspect, or not even suspect, you nail down the guilty party in 16 hours. And then all this other stuff comes out that may just be inept police work. It may just be a bad culture, but that's what leads to conspiracy. That's what leads to cover up. It's because if you allow people to make their own connections, they will.
Yeah.
So you better make it for them. Because how much easier would it have been? We think this happened. How do you prove it? Well, we went inside and we searched the house. We luminoled everything. We found no evidence of a struggle. We found no evidence. So the only conclusion is this, and this is how we proved it. I mean, because if they did search the house and there's nothing there, what's the other alternative?
Right.
She hit him, right?
Yeah.
And second degree murder, I believe that's way over the top. I don't think if she did hit him, I don't think she intentionally did it. Because she was plastered that night, right?
I don't know. Okay. Because I will admit that day I was not listening as well as I could have, because I was trying to see clients that day and I can't really watch while I have clients. But I was very confused, and I need to go back and check about this whole thing, because they're saying that she had 9 drinks, but then the bar tab was so low. I'm like, what are they charging? 99 cents for these drinks? There's no way.
Yeah, maybe she drank a bunch before she got to whatever.
Maybe, I don't know.
But I mean, if you are blackout drunk, you're so drunk, I could see you hitting somebody and not even realize. I could see hitting the fucking side of the house and scraping your car and not even remember if you're that drunk. But
we can't go by you. You like to hit things anyway.
Yeah, whatever. But let me make my point, and then you can say. But even if that was the case, even if she hit him and didn't realize she hit him, it's still prison time. Still, you're still going to prison. You should go to prison, whether you meant to do it or not. You got behind the wheel, absolutely plastered, and your actions caused somebody else to die. That's prison time. I mean, I don't think it's murder, because I don't know if she meant to do it or not, but if that's what happened, it's prison time. You need to go to prison. You took somebody else's life because of your stupidity. Go to prison. But you can't even tell me that happened, because I don't know. With that accident reconstruction, you just showed me a guy that was backing up fast.
I also don't understand, how are you showing us anything when they didn't mark where his body was? So, you couldn't show, you should have been able to show us where he was, where the point of impact would have been, what kind of damages that would have caused to the car and his body, where his body ended up. I mean, none of this was in this reconstruction they did.
I mean, we didn't watch a reconstruction. We watched the guy back up really fast.
He really didn't even look to be going fast, so I was confused about what he even did anyway. And
it was a reconstruction where the elements were not even close to the same.
No.
Was where she supposedly hit him? Was there an incline there? Was there a decline? Was it slanted? Was it iced over? Was it this? Was it? There's too many variables they didn't take into consideration. So that proves nothing. It just proves absolutely nothing.
Yeah, they won't show us a backup camera and then tell us it was a blizzard. What the hell are you gonna see in a backup camera in a blizzard? So that
But
was worthless. I
I
mean,
mean,
like,
and
you're
again,
telling us nothing. You can't have it both
no,
ways.
nothing about Karen Reed's guilt or innocence. Zero.
No.
And I don't care.
Quit
Don't
doing a
care.
shoddy job.
But that's terrible. That's absolutely horrible, especially in a murder investigation. Like
Right.
if you're talking about a somebody wants accident reconstruction because somebody ran a red light and kind of clipped them in the back, whatever. Okay, sure, it can be maybe not top notch. This is a murder investigation. Like that shit should be so scientific and technical. And then like we were listening to a little bit of that trooper's trooper Paul, I think it was, where the accident guy, and he said that he didn't understand one of the systems that he needed. Like
Yeah.
he didn't understand some of the systems, so he went out and taught himself. No, like you can't just
Last
okay,
year.
yeah,
Last year,
right, yeah. So
2023.
so here's what I'm gonna do. When we're done here, I'm gonna watch some YouTube videos on how to do accident reconstruction. Then I'm an expert. No, that's not okay. That's
Well, he
not
tried to give an
okay.
opinion off of, him being hit off of or the car hitting her car hitting John O'Keefe's car, blah, blah, blah. He
Yeah.
tried to give an opinion on that based on the fact that he said he saw the car on court TV.
I mean,
Really? I mean, I watch court TV. I'm not in there testifying about anything.
but again, like there's so many things about this trial that makes us go, what? Makes other people go, what?
It
No.
is.
And and that's you can't have that. You cannot have that when you are trying to get justice for victims and their families. And you can't have that when you're trying to put potentially innocent people in prison. Like
Yeah.
everything needs to be perfect. It needs to be exact. And this was not like I
Yeah.
don't like if you can sit here, if you could come on here and look me in my eyes and tell me that everything was done perfectly, you're a liar. Like you just are. Like there's no way anybody could say that everything was done by the book in the way that it should. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It just wasn't.
I mean, I don't really see how.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous to me. I mean, like your construction tells us nothing. Like, was he drug under the car? Did he? Because his whole thing was, well, she was going 24 and then 23, so something had to have slowed it down. What? Like that's your whole thing. Like the glass is a foot away, yet you find his shoe like almost 10 feet away. Why? Can you give me
What
a reenaction of this where I can see how these fell here and this fell all the way the hell over there? How his body ended up? Oh wait, that's right. We don't know where his body ended because nobody marked it.
yeah. If they would have just outlined the body in red solo cups, then might have had
I mean,
something.
that'd have been better than nothing. That'd have been a
But
better use of those solo cups. I know
but I
that.
mean, what if you're backing up and you hit a little mound of snow and then you're like what's that impact look like? How does that slow you down? Like it doesn't have to be a person that they hit to cause them to slow down, right? And I mean,
I mean,
like I'm literally asking, like I'm not commenting, like I'm literally asking, like it didn't have to just be a person that would have caused those those metrics to come out of this little investigation, right? I mean,
I
could
don't
it be
think
more than that?
so. But I'm not an action reconstructionist, and neither is he. Clearly, so
I mean, not
I
from
feel
anything
like
I've ever
they
seen.
walked down to the police station and they were like, "Who's your best guy? Who's the guy who's been to the most crashes? All right, he's the expert. This is what we're gonna need you to get him to say." I feel like I know that's probably not what they did, but it really kind of seems like it.
And where we were watching it, you felt sorry for him. I was like, no, 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 no. There's
I just
no,
was
no.
like, I just felt bad. Like, I always try to have empathy for people, and all I could think was he just looks like a deer in the headlights. He don't know the answer to these questions. He's so confused. Bless his heart. He is
He
not up
didn't.
for this.
He
He is
didn't
not an
know.
expert.
He didn't know the answers to the questions because he didn't bother to look for them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. That's what it is. You didn't bother to look. Like, there's no way. I don't know. Maybe I'm just completely wrong. And if this is the the exact way to do accident reconstruction, then I just need to never drive again because I don't want to get thrown in prison because some guy can't figure out to measure some shit. And that's okay. I just don't feel like it is. I feel like there's way more to it. But all right. I don't know. I just so unfair for everyone involved. Everyone.
Yeah.
The victims, the family, Karen Reed, it's unfair for her. She's not getting a fair trial, regardless of
No.
whether you think she's innocent or guilty. Like, this is not a fair trial. It's just not. There's stuff that's coming in that shouldn't. There's stuff that I'm sure is being left out. I mean, this whole, not handing everything over to the prosecution or to the defense, and it's not the first time. Like, this is a multiple thing. That's not you forgetting. That's because you don't
Right.
want them to have it. You want to make sure that they can't use
Uh,
it. Like, that's the only reason why you hide stuff over and over and over again. It's just like Koberger. It's the reason Santa Claus won't give all the stuff to Anne. It's because he knows that he doesn't want her to have that because it doesn't look good for him. So she's got to fight to get everything.
Well, and this kind of goes to the fact that we are not just jumping on a bandwagon either way, is that we had this discussion the other night. And the other night I was like, this was before this person testified. And I was like, you know what though? Maybe it is the truth, because in the Koberger trial, Santa Claus tries to say that he doesn't have the stuff because they haven't gotten it from the feds. Well, these people are dealing with the feds too, so maybe they don't have the stuff, which is what I thought. But then all of a sudden you get Lally and he's like, well, in hindsight, that would have been like, no kidding, bro. Is this your first week?
When it comes to discovery and hindsight, would have been when you were like in law school and doing a mock trial and you forgot to hand that shit over. That's hindsight. This, I don't know. It's a bit more than hindsight because it's not the first thing that's come out that they haven't handed over. No, I don't believe anytime. Like, my opinions have changed over some time doing this, but I absolutely think every single time the prosecution is worried about winning and not justice. They don't give a shit about justice. I don't care. They just want to win. And whatever they need to do to win, whether it's fair, hold back evidence, put people on that lie on the stand, whatever it takes to win, just win. That's the way that I see it. And that's why I call it the criminal joke of a system. That's what we have.
I mean,
it's even worse right now with the Karen Reed trial. Like, it's a joke. It's a fucking joke, both sides. It's not it's not fair to anybody. So, I mean,
absolutely.
Nobody's going to win in this trial. Because if she's found not guilty, who do you investigate?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you do then.
You got nothing to go back and investigate on. So whoever did it gets away with murder, and whether that would be Karen Reed through a not guilty verdict or other people that did it that now can't be investigated. Either way, it's a loss. It's a loss for everyone.
Yeah.
Everybody gets so caught up, guilt or innocence, and then want to take like personal attacks at each other and try and pull stuff up from your Twitter that you never deleted or
like, it's public. It's public,
and then put it back up there. Oh, and by the way, for those of you that done that, thank you. We've gotten like 25 new followers on Twitter, so it's worked out great. But it's just like, you're just so busy fighting for this person, you have no idea who she is. No,
yeah,
you have no idea.
Exactly.
It just reminds me of politics, because we are so busy hating the other side that we're totally just oblivious to what's really going on. Like, I mean, we not me, because I mean, I don't, it doesn't matter who gets in the office. Like, once we are at a point where we're leaving this country. But I mean, you're fighting over some felon, 34, 37, either way, more than 30 felony convictions. And this guy's still running for president and raised over $400 million since his conviction.
That's absurd to me. I can't even.
Versus who, and this is, I mean, versus a guy who appears to be in the early to mid stages of dementia. And these are the people that we're fighting against. We're fighting each other over these two people. Like,
I mean,
like,
you got one guy who's supposedly sexually assaulting women, grabbing their private parts and stuff, and the other one whose daughter has a diary out there that talks about him showering with her, and his son is like freaking shooting up heroin on laptop footage. So, like,
he was just convicted last week, Hunter Biden.
Yes, it's like, why are we at such odds over these idiots? We don't need either one of them.
Yeah. And that's exactly what's happening with the Karen Reed trial. People are so busy trying to prove her guilt or innocence, which, by the way, you can't do. But they're so busy fighting over that we're completely glossing over what is actually going on. we have terrible investigations.
Mhm.
Like just nobody else would do them that way. We got the appearance of conspiracy and cover up. We've got uh, we've got police officers that clearly are lying on the stand, and we're starting to see what's actually happening inside of these departments.
Yeah.
Nobody is outraged over this. Why
Yeah.
not? Why are we not pissed off at that? Who gives a
Right.
shit if she's guilty or innocent? It doesn't matter. The bigger issue is why are we letting this type of shit go on?
I mean,
Like,
it does matter. It's
come on.
just it doesn't matter to us.
Okay,
It shouldn't
that's
matter
fair.
to us
That's fair.
because
I mean,
we
ultimately,
don't
it
know these
does.
people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that is fair because ultimately the right verdict needs to come out based on the real facts and the real evidence. Right now, the verdict's going to be based on if they believe a trooper that lies on the stand, or if they believe this or believe it shouldn't. Like it should be
And
facts and evidence, and it's
they
not.
just keep talking over themselves too. It makes no sense. Like this accident reconstructionist, and yes, I keep using quotes because I feel like that is not what he does for a living, really. But like he does this whole thing where he's talking about it. She couldn't have broke the taillight when she backed into his Traverse, but they ask, well, did you put the two cars together? No, but I measured them. And then he tells us what the I don't remember what the numbers are, but he tells us the bumper's this far from here. Okay, well, then where's all the stuff? If the bumper stuck out so far that the car couldn't have hit the taillight, that the bumper would have been the first thing that would hit anything because it sticks out the furthest from the car, and it's only this high. Where are the injuries to John O'Keefe's lower body? Where are they?
I
Please tell
mean,
me.
but
You're not making sense.
26 to 27 inches off the ground is what he said.
Ah,
But
okay.
but the thing about that is what does that matter? Like, okay,
Yeah.
thanks. You told me how how far up it is.
Tie it in, bro.
Yeah, what does that have to do with anything?
Right.
And I'm sure it does maybe somewhere, but you didn't tell us. You just told
Yeah.
us what the height of the bumper was. And I mean, and that's the other thing, like an accident reconstruction, like the thing that we, that little 2-second thing we watched. Like, if it hit him, and which way would he have gone? This way, that way, all this stuff. Like, that's what you got to build. My guess is they probably do have that and didn't really say what they wanted it to say. And so they
That's
didn't
kind of what
bring
I
it
was
in.
thinking. Yeah.
But that may not be the case. However, based on everything that I've seen so far, I mean, it's not beyond the realm of possibility because it just
Yeah.
seems like there's just incomplete police work, incomplete investigation, and then there's stuff that they don't want to hand over and they don't want to talk about. And so it just continues to just, just lead towards what are we doing? Like, did she really do it? Did she not? Are you guys corrupt? Are you covering things up? Are you just dumb? Are your procedures terrible and somebody needs to relook at those? Like, it's so much stuff that if you're actually watching this trial, it has nothing to do with the trial. It has nothing to do specifically with Karen Reed. It has everything to do with the investigation or lack thereof.
Yeah.
And just the appearance is enough to make things look bad.
But what's crazy to me is the people that are so fired up about this to the point that they're like losing friends over it and stuff. I'm like, I'm not losing no friends over anything happening somewhere else that ain't got shit to do with me. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like people that Brandy Churchill, she did the Canton Confidential, I don't know, whatever it was in Canton, the podcast she has.
Okay.
I should probably look it up so I can tell people. But because it is a good podcast, you should go listen to it. But she has been so impartial. She has made such a point to say that she does not have an opinion one way or the other. She's just providing facts. And let's not forget, the only people to put anything up right now is the prosecution because it's their turn. So, of course, any facts that are questionable right now are coming from what the prosecution's saying. So all she's doing is going out there and presenting exactly what has happened as they've put their witnesses on. And people are just coming for her. Based on what? They're doing the same thing to Bob Motta. Why? What are you angry about? That you're not right? Because
look, when I said something about all defense diaries, like there were comments out there that were talking. insinuating that we are on the same page as Turtle Boy. First of all, no. Okay, no. I'm never going to be lockstep with somebody who calls himself Dr. fucking Turtle Boy. No,
I mean, he don't bother me really,
no.
so it's fine.
I can't fucking stand him. However, there's a lot of motherfuckers that do. So I do not. I can't take somebody serious that calls themselves Turtle Boy, whether that was a nickname he was given or not. Can't fucking do it. Just cannot do it. I can't. It's like when we watch those shows and somebody gets arrested and it's like, what's his name? Oh, that's Little Bunny Foo Foo. Little Bunny
Oh my
Foo
gosh.
Foo. That's his street name. I can't take. No, Curtis. That's your name. Curtis.
Right?
Like, I'm not gonna call you Little Bunny Foo Foo. Like, I just can't take these people seriously. So no, I have nothing to do with that guy. And I mean, I don't care about Karen Reed either. I don't give a fuck about her. She don't change my life at all. What I care about is the fact that no one is doing the right thing in this trial from the justice system perspective. And if the defense puts somebody up there and they're asked a question, they him and haw, you're fucking lying too. You're a liar. Just answer the question. Answer the question and see what happens.
Yeah.
And let the evidence go.
Why are you doing this? It's ridiculous.
It's really difficult for me to make fun of the defense because they haven't started yet. But also, I'm kind of wondering when the prosecution is going to start.
I mean,
other than this taillight and you saying that's what happened and this accident reconstruction, I guess. Other than that, you really haven't told us anything.
You want to call it that?
Yeah, you haven't told us anything. So put it together for me. Because the only person that said this is what's happened and this is what we think happened is Proctor. And that was after lie after lie after lie. So it's kind of difficult to believe you when you've done nothing but lie to us and prove that your integrity is it's not there, bro. It's just not. And again, like anybody wants to say, bring Proctor on, I'll tell him that to his face. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't say shit just to, let's say, no, I'll say it to him. He does not have integrity. Doesn't. If you drink and drive, you don't have integrity. You drink and drive in a patrol car, damn sure don't have integrity. It's just is what it is. Like, regardless, Karen Reed or not, he doesn't. Even if they found this stuff out and it wasn't of a defendant, and you're still like it was just somebody that was a suspect and looked at the lack of integrity. That's what it is. It's lack of integrity. So,
yeah.
I don't know. It just drives me crazy.
So I looked. It is 13th Juror Podcast, Conspiracy and Ken. So that is Brandy Churchwell's thing. And I just want to say that because I have it obviously on my playlist, so I didn't want to be like, oh, I don't know it. But I just couldn't remember the name of it. And these people are still going on Twitter.
Are they?
Yeah.
About what?
Well, this is on me because of the whole borderline thing and me saying something. They're mad at me because they think I guess they don't realize we're two different people.
Yeah, I mean, I said,
and that is kind of a problem.
Yeah, I'm gonna start. That's why I said the comments on YouTube. I'm gonna have to start doing it everywhere and just make sure that I put that it's me, because we are two very different people. Very different people. Like you're not gonna see, you're not gonna hear stuff out of Candace's mouth that I say. You're just not. So if it's anything super offensive, it's me, guys. It's me. Don't come at her. Come at me.
Yeah. And also the things they say don't make sense. They're like, so you find a supposed diagnosis thrown around an issue, but not calling someone you don't know the C word, no words. Okay, well, cunt isn't a diagnosis. It's an opinion. And an opinion is okay for a psychologist to give. Talking about the fact that their traits are borderline is not. That is a diagnosis you're throwing around. If not a diagnosis, what do you call borderline personality disorder? Because, as I know, it is in the DSM as a diagnosis.
Hold on, wait. Just for these people that don't know, DSM is like a book that gives all like psychology, crazy people talk. Because you guys probably didn't know that, since you're jumping.
I was trying to see if I had mine anywhere over here on the bookshelf. But
and
I mean, it's a book of diagnoses. But what you need to get what I'm saying.
Diagnosis, but it's just, I don't know. It's hilarious because it really is. But it is funny because half the people are angry. Half the people are this. It's like, and I would take it down just because it's causing so many issues for you. But I'm not going to let
Yeah.
people bully me into changing shit. I said what I said, and I said it, and I'll say it again, and I don't care what you got to say. Now, if you would like to have a real discussion about the um, the farce of a investigation and a trial that's going on right now, regardless of guilt or innocence on Karen Reed's part, I would love to talk to you. I mean, if
Yeah.
you can act like a real human being, like I love when people disagree with me. I love it. That's
Oh
what we're
God,
here
he
for.
does. He does. He loves it.
But no, I love discourse and I love talking and I love
Ah,
differences of opinion and getting to, talking through the issues and stuff like that. I do enjoy that, especially when we're on here. Now, when people just want to be mean and a troll, that's fucking hilarious. I love that. I do like talking and getting, other people's opinions and stuff in a mature way. But the troll stuff, I don't hate it. I just don't hate it.
yeah, I
I
get
just,
like annoyed with it,
I
so
know.
I try to just not
I
even,
just like,
not
why are
even
you?
interact because it pisses me off.
It's like, why are you taking the time out of your day to comment on something that I put out there?
Right?
Like, all I put out there was, hey, we're going live at 4 o'clock. We're not talking about guilt or innocence. I just said instead how the cops appear to be on trial and how the appearance of a biased investigation threatens the criminal justice system as a whole. It is a discussion, not an accusation. Fucking immediately jump on me.
Immediately,
I'm like, what?
immediately.
Do you know what words mean? Like, words matter.
They
Like, they're
don't.
important.
They don't.
But they know what the C word means, though.
Well,
But
and here's my thing. I mean, you can question my integrity or ethics all you want to, but I'm not out there saying, "Oh, she's got borderline." No, we don't know that. We don't know anything about her mental health or state of
well, wait,
mental
well,
health.
hold on. But thanks to Proctor, we do know her
Oh, that's
private
right.
her private medical things that are going on with her that has
Yeah.
no fucking business being in anybody's mouth other than hers and her doctor's. So
Yeah.
you could be all self-righteous all you want, but if you think Proctor is telling the truth, and if you think Proctor did anything with integrity, you're fooling yourselves. And you just look silly and you should stop. Now, I'm okay if you want to be like, hey, I think she did it, but Proctor's a shitbag. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can get behind that. But if you say anything other than Proctor's a shitbag, I got no time for you because there's no
And
way you're going to convince me that he is something other than that. You're just not going to convince me. There's no way. There's
yeah.
no way.
And I'm with you on Jennifer McCabe. I think she's a horrible person. But you know what? I would see her and treat her for being the C word that she it seems is. We could work on that.
Yeah.
You know? Oh wait, we couldn't because I'm in a different state than her, and that is unethical, and you could lose your license, although people just,
Yeah.
spitting out diagnoses on people and
I just, it,
oh
if we want to argue about other things, that's fine. Argue, call each other what you want. Sports teams, you want to argue about this stuff. But we're talking about an institution that is in place to make sure that people who do wrong things are put where they're supposed to be, and innocent
yeah,
people never find themselves in this situation. And that's not what's happening. That is not what's happening there. And I'd be curious to see what every investigation looks like with these people. Do they
yeah,
constantly do this? Because it would be very telling if all their other investigations were to the letter and this one was not. Then I would really tell you what's up. Or this is just how they do things all the time. Either way, it's wrong. Either way, it's wrong. I mean, you can't argue with me. I mean, people could try, but I mean, you just don't have a leg to stand on. It's not right. Evidence collection in solo cups is never okay.
oh, this isn't great. So I just saw, because I'm on Twitter here, where Vinny Politan on his YouTube channel
Mm-hmm.
is, I don't know if he's on there right now. I think he did a show. I don't think it's live right now, but it says on there that one of those jurors was saying that she doesn't like that Karen smiles. I mean, we're just putting people in prison now because we don't like the way they smile during the trial. I'm just saying, this is what I'm saying. I'm not saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're being so mean to Karen Reed. What I will say about that is, if I were her and I felt like I were innocent, I think I'd be smiling too when we drug your ass through the mud after you sat there and lied about me. Maybe she's laughing because she's evil, an evil villain, but it could go either way. So I'm just saying, maybe let's not us make any rash judgments based on somebody smiling in court while they're fighting for their life.
Yeah, I mean, because the trials that I've watched, there's been times where, like, the judge will say something and there will be laughter in the courtroom. So is everybody guilty?
Right? Yeah, like it's not. None of this is funny. None of it's
No,
funny.
none of it is.
I don't think that anyone in their right mind could think that she thinks it's funny.
No,
I
and I
mean,
think some of the looks on her face is just like when other people listen to shit. Like, are you cannot be serious right now with this. I mean, that makes more sense to me. What she be doing, but I mean, it's bad. It's bad all the way around. It's also potentially going to be a very expensive case for the Commonwealth. Because
yeah,
I don't know, I don't think Jackson and Unetti does it, but I'm sure they're going to put her in contact with some people that can file civil suit against the city, the police department, the individual officers themselves. So if she's found not guilty, it's going to be expensive for you guys. I hope all your insurance and everything else that you need is paid up, because you're going to need it. Because I mean, there's no way that you get found not guilty and then they don't find in your favor when you sue everyone. It's just, come on, it's going to be expensive. And that is another reason why you need to make sure that your investigation is perfect before you put somebody on trial, because it could turn around and be very expensive for you. People could potentially lose their jobs. Like, it's just bad all the way around. Regardless, guilt or innocence, don't care. I don't care about her. I really don't. I just, my frustration is with the justice system, and it's not respected there at all.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just culture. They've been doing this shit for years. There's no way that you just all of a sudden start texting your boss this kind of shit. It's just not something you just start with.
And honestly, I mean, I think it is ridiculous as a juror to make a decision based on the fact that she's smiling. But I will say, I think that is probably a place that Unetti and Jackson are faltering on, is not ensuring that they are telling her to act in an appropriate way. Because I will say, she's typically either smiling or has resting bitch face. That's not a good look for her either way.
No, she needs to be just, even and yeah, and that's one of the things that they should be telling her is like, calm down. Like, you just need to be stoic, like no emotions, just go in there and listen, take notes, whatever. Because the looks on her faces, I mean, that doesn't help.
I mean, the way they changed their story, so I could see some of the, you're like, what? Or being like, yeah, see, we caught you in that lie. We knew you was lying.
Yeah. But I mean, she needs to stop. Definitely needs to stop.
Yeah. Unfortunately, she kind of looks, and that's why I said resting bitch face instead of bitch face, because she kind of looks like she just has that look about her, like she's just one of those people. Because the second she smiles, you're like, oh, okay. But I mean, she does kind of look mad all the time.
I mean,
but that's her face. She can't help that. It is what it is.
But I can see how hard it would be. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, let's say she is innocent. And like, put yourself in her place, and you're just, you're innocent. You didn't do this. And then you hear this testimony and you hear what is supposed to be evidence, and just the more it is. And remember, remember what I said. I'm not saying she is. I'm just saying, let's say for the sake of this argument, she's innocent. Put yourself in her position. Would you just be able to sit there every day and listen to law enforcement officers who's supposed to, uphold the law, just continually commit perjury? Like, it would be hard to sit there and appreciate that and just be like, okay, it's part of it. It's going to be fine. I'm going to be found not guilty. No, it would be very difficult. Like, my attorney would be like, hey, calm down. Hey, calm down. But I mean, I wouldn't be on trial. I mean, I'd leave. There's no way that I would let any of these people put me on trial.
Oh, goodness.
I'm leaving. Sorry. I'll be in a non-extradition area. That's where I'll live the rest of my life. Because I'm not putting my faith or my life in the hands of a jury and a prosecutor. It'd be hard. Yeah. I'm just not doing it. I don't trust any of them. And that was well before Karen Reed. I don't trust any of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell our son all the time, you tell a police officer what your name is, and then you shut the hell up. I don't care what it is. I don't care.
We even tell him, don't ask for us. Ask for a lawyer. Don't ask for your parents. Don't say that. Say, I want an attorney, and stop talking.
Don't say a word.
Yeah.
Not a word. And yeah, sure, people are like, that makes you look guilty. Yeah, but you
Oh
can't use
well.
anything against me. So when you get the evidence that shows it's not me, you don't have, what I said as I'm going to use that and then prove he did it. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I mean, what is it they say? Better to
That's
be thoughtful than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. There you go.
correct.
Kind of the same
Yep.
with guiltiness, you know. I'd rather look guilty than say some dumb crap that made people think I was, for
Yeah.
sure.
Never talk to the cops, guys. Ever, never, ever without an attorney. Never.
Well, I mean, like I said, my dad was a cop. My first husband was a cop. They both, I remember telling me. I mean, I remember my ex-husband saying, "If you get pulled over, you don't let them search." Because I said something about, "Well,
Mm-mm.
what about if this is in my car?" And he's like, "You don't let them search your car. They have no reason to search your car." He's like, "You don't
Nope.
ever let them search your car." He's like, "You tell them." He's like, "If you ever get questioned, it's I want an attorney." I was like,
Yeah.
"Sold."
Yeah. That's all you tell people. So going through the comments, because I mean, we've beaten this dead horse, and unfortunately, just
Yeah.
like a lot of our other lives, people don't want to come on here and talk and have a discussion or anything like that. Because I mean, I would give everybody the link if you want to come on. Like I'll send you the link. You can come on here and we can debate it right now. Because it's when I talk about debate, I'm not trying to say let's get down to see who's wrong or who's right. That's not my version of debating. It's let's talk about the issues and see what we have in common. Let's see what we don't have in common. What can we common ground? Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. But no, it's just you're wrong and you said the C word. Fucking crybabies. But so there were 10 women on the jury to start.
That's what I've
So
heard.
like there's no way every chick on there is going to be okay with what Proctor said.
No.
I mean, it's going
I
to be
mean, it'd be
like
hard to.
I could see it being the OJ verdict. Like they knew OJ was guilty, but they just found him not guilty to punish the LAPD. I don't think it's the right way to do it, but the LAPD was pretty fucked up. But I mean, that's not the way to do it. So you just let Nicole and Ron's family just not have the justice they deserve because you wanted to take a stand. I can see that happening here. I mean, there could be evidence coming down in the next couple of days that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that she did it. And I would find it difficult to believe that every woman on that jury is going to vote guilty. just, and that's another reason why you got to be perfect.
It just kills me that so many people are using the fact that that I care about justice. I care about John O'Keefe. Do you? Because this
No, you
prosecution
don't.
is not helping you. They're not helping his family. They're not helping bring, you know, any closure to this or shine a light on anything that was done. They're doing nothing.
Yeah, because if you care about John O'Keefe as much as you say you do, then yeah, you're right. They should care about justice, but not just this case. We should be watching every trial, like and just scrutinizing every little thing that's done by the prosecution and the defense. It's the only way that we make sure people continue to get fair trials, and we're seeing they're not. People are not getting fair trials, and somebody needs to hold them accountable. And I mean, if that has to be a little bit of YouTube channel with a few thousand subscribers, then so be it. Like somebody has got to hold these people accountable. We cannot just let this just, just let it creep away into the night. We just don't have to. No, fuck them. They stay on top of them until people start losing their jobs. Because there is no place in any police department to be calling somebody a cunt when you're in the middle of investigating them. There's just not. It's bias. And if you tell me it's not, you're a fool. It's just what it is. And it kind of goes with Nevaeh said right here. Yeah. Yeah. You cannot be ruled by emotions in a job like this. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it. Like we have talked about women in the military. I've got zero issue with women being in the military. I've got zero issue with them doing the same thing as men. Psychologically, it is more difficult to see a woman get hurt and be in a position where if you ran out to try and save her, you would also become a casualty. And there are times in the military where you just can't. Like you just have to wait until you get fire superiority and you're able to go out there and do it so that you don't get any more casualties. But it is more difficult for a guy to see a female in that situation and not want to go out there. It's just the way we're made.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, I've said 1,000 times when you were deployed and people would say stuff, I think it like right around that time something was said about female stuff and it was a whole thing. And I remember people saying, "Oh, I know you feel that way because your husband's over there." I said, like, hell no, I don't. I don't want him feeling bad for some woman and running out there trying to
Yeah.
save her. I also don't want some tiny ass little woman trying to pick up his 6'1" big ass and carry him back if he gets shot. I mean, I kind of want somebody over there that can do it. It's not about sex. It's about, can you do the job? If she can do the job, have at it. If he can do the job, have at it.
And I only say that because it's like, that's something that you have to, like, you have to build that into your training. You have to know that it's, regardless of who it is, male or female, but it is more difficult. So there are jobs where your emotions have to be like, you just have to turn them off. You just have to turn your emotions completely off. And if you can't do that, get out of that field where you have to do that. You're not helpful to anyone, whether it's the victim that you're trying to help or the suspect that you're trying to make sure, goes to prison for what they did. Your emotions cannot run you. If your emotions do, then you cannot be in any kind of job like that. You just can't. I mean, you just cannot do it.
Well, you know what, too? I think these people should be checking their emotions with this whole situation. Because I mean, these content creators losing their crap on each other, and it's like, what is your deal?
Jen, I'm pretty sure the cops had a good reason to suspect the white powder on your car. Just saying.
Oh, Lord, help.
But I mean, I don't know. I just would love if somebody that completely hates me, just let's talk. Let's have a discussion. And I mean, like, I would love to hear. I would be interested to hear somebody else's point of view and not attacking, but like really explain to me, like show me where she's guilty.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm open to it. Like, I'm not saying she's guilty. I'm not saying she's innocent. What I'm talking about is this investigation does not do the whole world of criminal justice any favors. So
I wish somebody explained anything. It is so confusing on both sides. There are so many things about this case that make no sense to me at all. I can't understand that this person testified about all this Google search stuff. I'm having a hard time buying that. But at the same time, I have a hard time understanding how someone who is trying to get rid of a dead body is online, looking up hockey stuff. What the hell? But I think I'd be a little bit more concerned about the guy in the front yard than a hockey team, but that's just me. None of it makes sense.
But if you got a bunch of first responders in your family and your friends, then you know how important it may be to build an alibi. I mean, you can take this any direction.
That's the thing. Yeah. Which is why we need them to prove in court what happened. Yeah. And nobody is doing that so far.
Like, for real. And I mean, we don't even have to talk in a way where anything's recorded or on YouTube. It's not a matter of trying to get people on here and get more. No, I would really, like, honestly, genuinely, I would love to hear what you've heard so far from the Commonwealth that proves her guilt. I mean, I'm open to it. And like I said, I haven't been watching the trial. There are some things like this I'm talking about. It has nothing to do with the trial itself, but it is the investigation. But if you think she's guilty and you can show me the evidence that proves it, please tell me. I'm willing to listen.
Yes, let's please. Do that. I want to see it.
Let's get on the phone with no recording, no YouTube, anything. I'm very curious which parts of the testimony that you are saying leads you to guilty. And then also, how are you able to just dismiss the bad parts of Proctor, but keep in the parts that fit your narrative that she's guilty? Because I have a very difficult time believing anything he says. I mean,
I don't have this huge problem with her that you have, but I don't understand the whole coffin doffer, or however the hell you say her name. Like, she was on television saying, you can clearly see in the video that her light is intact. But then she is like, oh, she clearly hit him. Look at all the pieces they found. From where? Just said the video proved there was nothing wrong with the tail light when she pulled out that morning. What are we doing?
But that's her.
Well, that's true.
Because remember what she said about Koberger. If there's no DNA found in the car, then he's innocent. And then when there was no DNA found in the car, her response was, well, he cleaned it really good. You got like one way or the other, one way or the other. And if you saw it this way and then your mind changed, okay, I was this way, this is what happened, now I see it this way. Like, just some normal discussion Like, don't double down on, you switch everything and then act like nothing happened. And you didn't. Like, it's like you did. Like, you were on TV saying it.
Yeah.
So if you said it, just that is the one thing. I don't want to say respect, because I don't respect anything Turtle Boy does. But
I respect. He is who he is. He owns it. He does his stuff.
I mean, the fact that he continues to say things like, I don't know, some random shit they say, because there's people on our Twitter feed that are on there because she likes, she at least likes to listen and hear what they have to say. Me, I would just mute them and just not listen. But
you keep muting people, and I'm like, stop muting them. I'm trying to read their stuff.
I can't take it. I can't take it. I can't.
You need to just get the hell off Twitter altogether. Leave it alone.
No, it is fun. It is fun at times. It is fun. But I mean, like, he is like, it's not just him saying she's innocent. It's like, I cannot wait until all you people eat your words. And that's ballsy, because you might be dead ass wrong. And then you're going to have a lot of people coming at you. So, I mean, I don't want to say respect, but I can appreciate him having his, not just have his opinions, but his resolve to just continue to hammer that home. So there's that. But I mean, I don't care.
Well, I also think that if not for him, okay, go ahead.
This is absolutely. I don't remember what day she retired, but it was the day that the FBI came a little bit stronger. I just don't have any respect for her. Just stick with your story. Like, if you think one thing, stay with it. Like, don't bend to the will of pressure on Twitter. Yeah, who cares? Like, if you believe one thing, you believe it. Like, if some random Twitter guy, and that's what makes you change everything. Come on.
I mean, that's the exact reason we're not taking down the C comment thing, because I'm not going to be out there being like, I didn't say that. You didn't say that. Nobody on this channel said that. No, you did. It happened. You did it. You said what you said.
I don't care. Like, I just don't. And you know what the thing about it is? It's like, it's not me trying to be controversial. I mean, like, it's not.
We don't have 100,000 followers, people. We ain't making bank off this. I mean, come on. Like, no.
I mean, yeah. I mean, so, like, you're gonna get me. You're gonna get one. Right. And these are, like, this right here. This is a very good question. That if you were to ask this question in a lot of other chats, the hate that you would get. This is a fair question.
Yes,
this is a very fair question. Like, why everybody should have been there. Like, I just can't imagine that here, if there was an officer that was found dead, I just can't imagine that it wouldn't be like, hey, I know it's not your shift, but guess what? Wake the fuck up. We got some shit to do.
Well, like, I can tell you, when I was married to a police officer and police officers got shot serving a warrant downtown, every one of their asses got called. He didn't even work for the city. He worked for the county. They still got called. Yeah. Also, you ever been to a police funeral? Oh my God, the cars. Yeah. Car after car. You could rob the whole damn city when a funeral is going on, because every cop there are certain things when you have a fallen officer that you do, and you always do. And Christy is exactly right. It should have been all hands on deck immediately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, tents are normal. Like, it's just that. I mean, that's standard.
I mean, especially in a damn blizzard. Yeah. It's a blizzard.
I mean, heaters to melt the snow is a whole lot smarter than leaf blowers.
Yeah, I don't get the leaf blowers. Like I on one hand, I'm like, well, that's pretty, you're working with what you got. All right. But it's like, how do you know you're not blowing the evidence away? Like, that's why we don't want rain and big, wind gusts and stuff. Yeah. So,
or are you causing, like, you're causing it to be, like you said, you're messing with it, causing pieces to be further away than they really should, cause the accident reconstruction. If one was actually done properly, it would cause issues there. Because, I mean, like, think about it though. Those, you're blowing the snow away. I mean, that could lead from her being absolutely guilty to being seen as innocent, because the evidence doesn't make sense. Like, I mean, there's so many issues with that. And I mean, when you talk about cops, all hands on deck, the investigation should even be turned up a notch. Like, you really shouldn't see this kind of investigation at all. But damn sure not when you're trying to make sure that the person that killed a
Yeah.
cop is going to prison. I mean,
Yeah.
I just don't understand how your investigation is not amped up a little bit more. It shouldn't be. It should be the same for everybody, regardless of what they do. But let's be real, it's different. It is different when it's a
Yeah.
fellow officer.
It is.
So I mean, so the fact that it's this shoddy makes it even worse. I mean, it's just talking about trying to make sure a cop receives justice and that cop's family receives justice. And this is the investigation that you did?
Yeah.
I mean,
Shoddy at best.
I don't know.
I mean, that's
I
an
guess.
understatement. Like, I mean, in this trial, it's like, I keep thinking, like, is he getting paid by the defense? Because, like, really? So, I mean, he just keeps putting people up there that are not proving anything. I'm like, that is not proving what you think it is if you're really still on team prosecution, because you are screwing this up. Like, every day, just about, he turns their witnesses into defense witnesses. What is he doing?
But yeah, I mean, in listening to the lawyer, and I mean, he's got like 10,000, 12,000 people when he does his lives. But and listening to him, he made a good point because somebody asked about Lally, and he's like, I mean, he may just have to do it. Like his boss man said, you're going to try this case, and he could be just up there trying it with what he's got. Like, I mean, let's be real. I mean, you as a prosecutor, do you really want to put the lead investigator up there when you know what he's been texting? Fuck no, you don't. But if your boss is like, hey, you're going to prosecute this case or I'll fire you, and guess what? You'll never be a prosecutor again because I'm sure that community's small. Then you're like, oh, well, fuck, I guess I just got to take the case I got. And you go. I mean, who knows? I mean, he could be in that position. But I don't know. It's not fair. The investigation is not fair to anyone.
Right.
It's not fair to the victims. It's not fair to the families. It's not fair to Karen Reed. It's not fair to the justice system as a whole. It's just unfair all the way around. And that's what it's really about. It's not about whether she's guilty or innocent. I mean, come on.
And really, y'all are not helping your cause out there if you are, pro prosecution, because, I mean, we try and stay unbiased here, but the more everybody keeps on, I'm like, you know what? I mean, I can see how she's going through some shit because these people are insane. They're insane. Like, what are they doing?
I'm sure you've seen that meme of Homer Simpson, and then he's there, and then he backs up into the hedges, and he disappears, and he comes back out. Like, honestly, like if you were Karen Reed is guilty, and then you saw that, like you should kind of back up into the hedges and then come back out with well, let's see what happens after you saw Proctor. Because I mean, if you can stand behind him, you are what's wrong with the criminal justice system. Because you cannot allow this guy to continue to investigate things.
How hard is it to stay rational? Like, I was saying all this stuff about the prosecution, and then you said, well, wait, the lawyer, like, he made a good point about this. And I'm like, you know what? That's fair. That is fair. That's right. I didn't think of that. And that is fair. He does not have, the luxury of being able to say, no, I don't want to do that case. If he has to do it, that's his job. I get that. I don't understand why that's so hard for people. Like, you're not always going to be right. I'm not always going to be right. Nobody's ever always right. When you're wrong, just be like, you know what? That's a good point. I mean, that's fair. These are not good points they're making.
But that's the difference between discussion and confrontation. Like, I'm not trying to prove to you that I'm right. Because, I mean, what I believe, I mean, if you don't come to me with like real facts and we have a discussion, you're never going to change my mind. If you're just going to be like, oh, you said the C word in a Twitter post, okay, and that doesn't change my opinion. That doesn't make me go, you know what? You're right. You're right. I did the same thing Proctor did. Well, actually, no, it's a lot less than what he did. But I guess since he did it and I did it, you're right. She's guilty.
Also, like, you don't know us. How do you know we're not British? They use that word daily about everything. You don't know us at all. We could have just been like, she kind of sucks. She's annoying.
I mean, it really just, I always wonder when I see them, I'm like, why did you take the time to write a comment saying how bad I am for saying that word? Like, and I can't remember what it was. It was just so funny. Oh yeah, that's what they did after I said something about Defense Diaries. They took that post, they screenshotted it, and they're like, now it all makes sense as to why he's on the Karen Reed innocent. It's like,
Oh,
bitch, I never
listen,
said she was innocent. I
right?
just said Shanna's what she is. And you found it. You didn't do any big investigative work. You just went out there and you reposted and be like,
Yeah,
this is the person you are. Okay.
sold.
Yeah, right. I put it out there. It's not like I put it out there and deleted it. It's
Right?
not like I put it out there as private. Like I put it
Twitter's
out
not
there.
password protected, folks. I
Woo!
mean,
Like I
it's
put it
pretty
out
open
there.
ended. Just go
Yeah,
on there.
put it out there for anybody to see, including Jen. Like, like I don't say shit just to say it. It's just, and then I was saying that I told him, I said, you guys are why I love Twitter. And then they're like, you're why I hate Twitter.
Okay, bye. I mean, that's all right.
Oh, I fucking love it. Yeah, I mean, this is true too. Yeah, it is. It's unfair.
Yes.
I mean, it is unfair to them.
Yeah.
Nobody is a winner here. No one. Because even if, like, I don't know, say even if she is found guilty, there's still going to be people that question it. If she's found not guilty, there's people that's going to be questioning it. Nobody wins here. Not a single person. Um, I would be interested to see what other investigations look like. And I think based on what we're learning from Proctor and others, I think an investigation into what they've done in other cases, I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's mandatory. I think you have to look at it. When you're seeing gross misconduct like this, you have to look and
Yeah.
make sure that they haven't done it to other people, because they got to go. Like, you cannot have this, especially in today's environment when it comes to the cops. You cannot have this. Like, you need to be
Yeah.
even higher than what you were above reproach. And I mean, this needs to be looked into. It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with Karen Reed. Nothing to do with Karen Reed. It has everything to do with investigations and doing it the right way. And they're not. They're not doing it the right way. And again, I would say that to Proctor to his face, because that's what I
Yeah.
believe. It's not an opinion for me to be a troll. It is what I believe. And if they were to investigate, part of me, if they were to investigate and they found zero misconduct on anything else, and maybe this just was the one case where his emotions got the best of him the entire time he was investigating, which started to believe, well, let's say I wouldn't, but I could almost look past it if there was nothing else going on. I just find it very hard to believe that this was the first time he's ever called suspects this to his boss. And that's
Right.
really the thing. That's really the thing that gets me. You can have all this. When you start talking to your boss, that means you're in an environment where you're just free and open to say whatever you want without any consequences. And that's not okay. It's just not okay. And it's just not okay.
It's really not. I mean, it's horrible.
Yeah. This is what we're talking about, MJ. I feel like if a dead guy showed up in our neighbor's house, they'd come to ours. Like, I just don't know. And we were watching what was he, a retired homicide detective who was on with Vinny last night,
I think so. Yeah.
and he was asking him one out of 10, what do you think about this? And things like what Proctor said about the suspect. And he said 1 out of 10, that's a 15. And then he asked him, he's like, well, what about not searching the house? And he said, if I didn't have any probable cause that would lead me to believe there was evidence in that house, then that's like a 2. It's not a big deal. But based on this case and what and he was just kind of like, well, I mean, he didn't skirt it, but I mean, he didn't want to say it, but he was very honest about other things. So things that seemed big to us weren't big to him, but things that seemed big to us were huge to him. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just us, it's other law enforcement officers that are saying this stuff. And with a guy like that, I trust what that guy's saying, because he's very, this is a 15 here. No, that's just not a big deal. You guys are you're blowing that out of proportion. It's not a big deal. That's kind of like that. That's what does it for me. Like, you're honest and you just say it. But I don't know. You just find a dead guy in a yard, and that's all you've got so far. And you don't go in the house. Maybe you didn't have a reason to, but now that you didn't, it looks bad. It looks bad.
And people on both sides are sounding insane. Because, like, the crazy stuff people say, like, I can't believe they're going to condemn Proctor for mean words. Well, first of all, it's not because he said mean words, because we said cunt, so clearly not a problem. Like, I don't care about words. They're words. It's whatever. But it's the fact that that showed how unbiased he was towards someone he was supposed to be investigating. There's no investigation when you're just like, oh, I don't like her. She did it. What is that?
I
But
mean,
then you got people on the other side that are like, Proctor's never even going to take the stand because he's got, or Higgins or whoever, like, Proctor's going to have to plead the fifth. And Higgins, he has a proffer with the feds. Does he? Because his ass was on that stand. He didn't say nothing about it. I'm confused. Maybe it's coming. I haven't seen it though. So this is what I'm saying. Everybody's getting too hot-headed about this. They've lost their minds.
yeah, and they're not looking at the real issue. I mean, they're not looking at the real issue. You're too busy trying to prove her guilt or innocence to really notice what's going on. Like, if it was another investigation, I don't care who you are. Like, you can believe that Karen Reed is absolutely guilty 100%. There's no fucking way that you would want Proctor as the lead investigator after you know what you know about him now.
I wouldn't.
If you say you trust him, you're a liar. You are a 100% liar, because there is no way that you look at how he handled this and you're like, you know what? I'm sure my kid would get a fair trial. I'm sure he'd get a fair investigation. No, fuck, you wouldn't. If Proctor thinks you're guilty, you're guilty, and that's not what we need. That's terrible. And reading this too, I mean, yeah, didn't she say that they were invited to the house and she didn't really know him, so she didn't want to go in? She's like, hey, go see if we're okay to go in, or whatever that whole story was. So,
yeah, everybody there is on board with they were invited. Yeah. So we know they were invited.
So if you know that they were invited in the house, then why did you not go in the house?
Yeah, I mean, like, why is your stance? Well, they said that he never showed up. Well, a lot of people say a lot of things. That's why you investigate, bro. Which means if someone's telling you, if she's telling you, I dropped him off here last night and then had to come look for him and found him, there should be a part of your mind as an investigator that's like, well, it looks like she did this, but she is saying he went in the house and she left. I probably should go check that out. I feel like that's day one.
Who was it that he didn't talk to right away or whatever? Because he's like, well, he left the house before any of this happened.
Oh, Colin Albert, yeah.
Wait, what was this? Really? Was he at the place where a dead body was found? Yes or no? Yes. You talked to him. Like, I mean, really? So he left before all this happened, but he also left where John O'Keefe should have been laying. Like, why would you not talk to him?
It's like people are getting so angry about, well, the defense is coming up with this and this and this and this. Okay, first of all, a lot of stuff defense is coming up with is on paper in black and white. It is what it is. Whether you think they're spinning it or not, the facts are the facts. And they wouldn't have to come up with this stuff had there been an investigation. We would know that this girl is saying she took Colin Albert from that house somewhere else. And so he says he wasn't there. But we also know that when they checked Jim McCabe's stuff, her Life 360 does not show this kid anywhere near there picking this boy up. She was in a completely different place. But the whole thing is, well, they just trying to come up with stuff. And Jennifer McCabe has said she believes her daughter. Oh, well, damn. Case closed. Yeah, case closed.
You investigate that. You run that down.
Yes.
And we're kind of getting away from stuff that I've actually listened to. But what's up with his genes? Did they say that there was his blood found on there, and then there was blood from two unknown people on his genes? Is that what it was?
If I understand correctly, yes. And I don't know if it was jeans or the top of the shirt, but they did find, I think, like 2 DNA that were not a match to him.
In the clothes that he was wearing when he died?
Yeah, but we don't know who they were a match to because
why
I didn't check any of it.
Why would you not check?
Well, also, why wouldn't you do a DNA test on the blood that was found? They never did a DNA test on that blood. Why? How do you know if it's even John's blood? If a fight did really occur, how do you know that it wasn't like Colin Albert's knuckles bleeding on it? Which is ludicrous and it's probably not the thing. But that's why it's also ludicrous to say we're at a murder trial, but we need someone to get on the stand and explain to you that he's dead. That's dumb as hell. That is dumb as hell. If you're a juror, you should know Dude's dead or we wouldn't be here. That's why I'm sure it's serving
Yep.
jury duty. But it is still something that has to happen in a legal process. So I don't care if you knew that was John O'Keefe's blood. Why the hell didn't you test it?
Because here's the
It's a
thing.
part of the process.
And like, just because there was somebody else's, that, like, let's say it was somebody calling out, it doesn't matter. Say it was person B that was at the house and it was their blood that was on there. Who's to say Karen Reed and that person didn't work together to kill John? I mean, it's not just about let's make sure that she's guilty for this. So let's make sure that nobody else is too. Maybe she is guilty and somebody else. Like, there's just too many
I don't
questions.
think so, but I see what you're
No,
saying. I see what you mean.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you have to investigate everything, regardless of how dumb it may be. You need to run that down because you need to make sure that there's no reasonable doubt. You tell me that, you didn't look in the house, you didn't investigate everybody else, and there's 2 unknown sources of DNA on the jeans that he was wearing when he died. That's reasonable doubt all day long. But if you investigate that stuff and you answer all those questions, all that reasonable doubt is gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
So that's the issue. That is the issue. The investigation is not, oh, she's being framed, because I kind of had that thought going through this, but now I just think that they just didn't know what they were doing, or that this is the way they've done it for so long they didn't think they needed to change. But you didn't run all this stuff down. You have to.
Yes.
You have to run it down. You just have to. If you don't,
just like, I mean, let's be real. Okay. If I get exactly what the defense is saying, why did you not bother to tell people that video of the car in the Sally Port was inverted, unless you wanted to just leave the impression that you never saw anybody go by that taillight, right? Oh, wait, that's the wrong side of the car we just showed you. Why not do it by the book? Why not tell everything? Why not say, okay, we're going to show you the video, but it is inverted. So keep in mind, this is the driver's side. This is the passenger side when we're looking at it. Nobody bothered to say that.
And that's the stuff that I'm talking about, that may have been, maybe they just, it was an honest mistake that they didn't bring that up. But when you add all the other stuff to it that's been going on, that's where it starts to look like a conspiracy.
Yes.
It's like, you can't continue to have these things over and over and over, and eventually, you just want us to constantly believe that it was just a mistake, or it was a coincidence, or it was this. I mean, eventually it's going to go the other direction. I mean, it's just a boy who cried wolf situation. You lied to us, and now you want us to believe you? It's hard for us to believe you.
And you know what? Nobody has to agree with me. I don't care. I will not believe this. The way I feel about it is, we look at prison as it should be to rehabilitate or keep them from harming another person. Like, these people are too violent to be out in the world. So we either need to lock them up here so they can't hurt somebody else, or make them into a better person and let them fly like a baby bird. Okay. The way I see it then, what are the chances that Karen Reed's going to murder somebody? I feel like pretty close to zero. So I would be willing as a juror to let her walk than to take the chance of putting an innocent person in prison. I don't care who doesn't agree with me. You don't have to. That is how I feel personally. And I'm not a juror. And I'll never be on a jury. Trust me. I've tried to serve and they're like, mental health, out. I'm out. So you don't have to worry. I'll never screw up your trial. But that's how I feel.
And they don't want me on.
No, we know.
No, prosecution's lying. I mean, you say that, you don't worry about putting an innocent person in prison and all that. Like, you can't convince me right this second with everything you got that Kohberger did it. And I know that I'm in the vast majority when it comes to that. But touch DNA is bullshit. And you can't tell me where his car was and his cell phone and all that. So until you prove something else, that's hard for me to believe. So, I mean, I'm kind of the opposite way.
We're able to live together and raise a child together and raise, more importantly, 2 dogs, because the boy don't care what we say half the time, but the dogs do. But we're able to do that even though we disagree, because I firmly believe Kohberger I think he's a straight up murderer. I just have a lot of questions about why there's no blood in that car. I think there's the possibility he's innocent. So I want to hear what everybody's got to say in court. I couldn't convict him. I wouldn't convict him right now. We haven't been to court. Nobody knows. But I got a lot of questions. But we can disagree on that and is okay. We're not telling each other off about it. I don't understand why that's so hard for people to do.
Yeah, she's been telling me I was wrong for 16 years, so I'm still
But I
here.
mean, like, Karen Reed don't pay your bills. Why do you care this much for her? The state don't pay your bill. Like, you don't pay my mortgage. I don't care what you think.
Right.
If you have a different opinion, that is completely fine.
Yeah.
And hell, I might change mine. Tell me something.
Yeah. I mean, I'm open to changing my mind. I mean, but I am very interested how people who believe that she's absolutely guilty and people that think she's absolutely innocent. I would be interested to hear what, why you think that. And I mean, I'd love to hear that. But the bigger issue here is just the criminal justice system, the just zero respect for it in that area, regardless of Karen Reed. I mean, it's just zero respect. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's 6 o'clock, and you know what time that is.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we've been on here for 2 hours. Good.
I know, that's
gosh.
fun. I told you. And unfortunately, nobody that was on Twitter wanted to come talk to us.
No, but that's okay.
I don't know. I guess that's just what happens when you have to step out from behind your keyboard and talk to a real person with real words.
Yeah.
Well, we're really just not that important, which is fine. That's cool.
We're really not.
I mean, that's really,
all three of y'all know now. We're not that important.
Right. I'm talking a bunch of shit to nobody, but yeah. But if you happen to do come across this and you would like to try and convince me that Karen Reed is guilty or that she is innocent, I'm really ready to listen.
Yeah, please do, because you clearly got some intel we don't got, and I want to hear it.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. That's it. We'll see what happens with this stream, and hopefully somebody on Twitter picks it up and they just like put a bunch of mean comments out there. I'm gonna love it.
I'm gonna stay off there.
More of a business meeting about how they're not getting a raise.
Right.
I mean, a lot of them should be losing their job. I don't know about a raise. Well, maybe not a lot of them. There are several.
Yeah.
There are a few bad actors that we see that need to go because they don't have any business being in law enforcement. But all right. Yeah. Well, that's it for this. We'll see you guys, I don't know, later, some other time. See you guys.